We are live. What's good, everybody? Back on here for another day, new goals. Let's own it. It's Earth Day. Babyface G's out here. What's good? What's poppin', everybody? Thank you for taking some time today to join the live stream. Today is an everyday, such a special day to honor Earth. Today's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day around the globe. And wow, I mean, at a time right now where we've, as humanity around the world, are in quarantine, I think it's a really special day to honor Earth Day. It's also, today is a new moon. So I'm going to do 2 live streams with clients of mine that I've been working with. Danni Blue, who is an amazing founder who has a socially conscious company. And I'll be bringing him on here just to talk about Earth Day and talk about his company and how he's using his company. I talk about this concept of conscious capitalism, and he's using capitalism in a conscious way to help save a lot of the Amazon jungle and planting trees around the world. So we'll talk about a little bit about that in a second here. And then I have someone later on tonight who's Magdalena, who is an amazing conscious founder. We'll be talking about the new moon and what does that mean for us. So all my conscious leaders, if they want to join. So let's see if Danni Blue is on here. Get him on. Yo, my man, Danny.
Yes. We are live.
We are live, bro. We talked about it. We made it happen. I always love when we make plans and actually execute and do what we say we're going to do. So last time we talked,
Quick life.
it was really, really powerful. We'll get into that a little bit because we talked about, what it means to truly start to brand yourself today. But I really just, bro, today was a special day for us to do this live stream because it's Earth Day. And it's interesting because I feel like we should be celebrating Mother Earth every single day. But I read that it's the 50th anniversary of this holiday, and it comes at a time where I feel like we all can share a little bit extra gratitude and really honor and say a prayer today for Earth as it's healing and as we continue to heal ourselves during this crisis. So I figured who better to have than you, Danni Blue, whose literally your core mission in life is attached to your business, which is helping to heal Earth, right? So I kind of wanted to give you the floor to talk a little bit about your passion, your mission in life, and just what can we all do to become more conscious right now in honoring Earth, to come out of this thing and truly making the world a better place and the Earth a better place. So thanks for coming on, Danny.
So much gratitude to you, brother. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on here. And yeah, what's funny is on the other side of things, before we kind of get into the whole Earth Day and all that, as you are well aware, the lessons never stop coming. Every day there's an opportunity to really drop into the deeper lessons if you're willing to see them. And so this morning, today's Earth Day. It's a big day for my initiative. I've been putting a lot of energy into launching this campaign, and so I was up early this morning getting everything ready, and I'm just hyper focused on all the stuff, needing to get the campaigns out and making sure everything is going where it needs to be, having it be focused on this day. And my daughter, I actually have 5-year-old twins. As you know, my daughter Aria, out of the blue, she just got sick, and she just threw up, right? And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's kind of really a big conversation that we talk about a lot with just life and where our focus is and what's important and what our priorities are. And even with this Earth Day thing, it's a huge thing, and it's built into the DNA of this initiative. And just getting to kind of have a reminder to drop out of the doing of needing to do all this stuff to get the messages out, and really just that it just felt really aligned with everything that's going on with coronavirus right now, where we're all being called to slow down and really have an awareness of what's happening around us. And this is a big thing for Earth Day and for specifically this cause. This is how I think we really shift the perspective of how we got to this point, kind of on passive autopilot,
Right.
where we kind of just assume that like that stuff will get worked out, right? That stuff will inevitably figure itself out. I need to do what this thing is that, I'm trying to do today and this year. And so I think that, it's a big part of what we're all being called to do right now is like really understand that this is a responsibility that we have. We can't just like see the videos and get inspired and know that, we need to recycle and, eat less meat and all the things, but not feel like it's important enough to actually do them. And I think a lot of the reason why we see a lot of people, myself included for a long time, not taking these on more seriously is because it almost feels like, I think to a lot of people, what good is what I'm going to do? How much good can one person make, right? And I think that there's a meme I saw before. There's memes all over the place like this, but it's something like, it's just one straw, said 7 billion people or something like that, right? And the meme shows just the complete and total devastation, to the earth with all the single-use plastic that's being, dumped in the ocean. So I think first off, it's really a matter of just taking personal responsibility, like every single person really stepping in and taking personal responsibility, even for making small incremental changes. Every single person does not have to have an initiative that's goal is to change and save and heal the world. But if every single person made one small little change, that compounded, that is actually that's the formula for what it is that I'm trying to create with 1 million acres. I'm not one person that's going to save 1 million acres of rainforest, but with a compounding effect, building a movement where people are all inspired to come together and be a part of this, that's how we create real change. So, yeah. So anyway, I wanted to like kind of drop in with that story because it happened. It came, we always think we know exactly what the day is going to be or what the thing. And ultimately, there's always opportunities to stop and slow down and really look at like, where am I maybe kind of on autopilot and not really being intentional with whatever it is that I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, I love that, man. So first and foremost, sending your daughter love right now, and I hope that she gets better. I hope that she's okay. Obviously, like that family is what's most important, and we can get, like you said, we get caught in doing and building our businesses and sending out these messages, but ultimately, what's most important is just, and again, like I feel like it's taking care of our loved ones and taking care of ourselves. And I've had to learn that because for 12 years I was just freaking hustling and going and doing and conquering and building, and I love that. I love the hustle. I love grinding. I love working towards a goal and accomplishing a goal. But really, over these last 3 years, I realized the importance of balance or harmony, right? Of like, yes, going out and doing and knowing that you have this purpose that's bigger than you, and you need to go out there and you have to, and we're all called to make the world a better place while we're here. But at the same time, I talk about the 2 rules of leadership is that it's like, it's bigger than you and it's all about you. And it's like realizing that we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our have the responsibility of taking care of our environment, our loved ones. And it starts with us, and, I think that's all of us are being called to wake up and become more conscious right now, not just, just in all of our actions. Right. And I think that's where the practice is. Like, that's where the meditation, all the practice, every single day, that practice is for us to become present in the now. What can you do right now in the choices that you make right now, and how will that affect, the people around you, how that affect you, your vessel, your body, your business, the people you love, like, and it's just about choices, right? And it's like all of us should be coming out of this, becoming more conscious in the choices that we're making and how it's affecting our world and affecting the people around us and affecting ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Are you familiar with the term Earth Overshoot? Are you familiar with Earth Overshoot Day?
No.
So it basically it's the I think it was coined in some back in the 70s, but it's basically the notion of how much of the Earth's resources does it take to sustain life here on Earth, right? So like um, how many Earths are we required? Like if we can sustain life here on Earth with all the resources of one Earth, we're at one, and at that point, there's a day that happens during the year at which we've expended all of the resources that take to sustain life on Earth. At which point, like we can't regenerate them fast enough to sustain. And every year, that day comes sooner and sooner, right? So what it means is, you know, if we can make it through an entire year and only need one Earth to sustain us, and every year that's the same thing, then we're good. We're at homeostasis because the Earth is regenerating at a quick enough pace. We're right now at something like, I think it's like 1.75 Earths, which is crazy. What it means is basically like, I think the day last year was in July, which means by the time that July hits, we have used all of the resources that the Earth can provide for us, and at that point, we're going into a deficit. So
When is this? When do you?
last year, it changes every year. Every year,
Okay.
Earth Overshoot Day happens sooner and sooner. You know, back in the 70s, it was December, or you know, even beyond. Like we were able to sustain ourselves with the resources that the Earth could provide without issue. Every year, that's been going down, meaning, you know, we're just consuming. We're consuming at such a large scale that we can't sustain ourselves here, and that's why we're seeing everything that we're seeing in the world right now. You know,
Is that why we're out of toilet paper?
that is actually the foundational reason. I mean, that's like inherent in human consciousness now. You see that in the, you know, this feeling of a need to, like, you know, buy 10 years worth of toilet paper out of fear, and it's based on this thing that we feel that we need so much more than we actually need to survive. And you and I had a conversation about this around, you know, even in the entrepreneurial world, and I'll probably, you know, lose a ton of entrepreneurial fans for you know, talking about the 10x culture and the 100x culture, and you know, there's a very powerful message behind it. It's all about growth. It's all about let's grow and let's expand and let's get to that next level. But when you really look deep into the 10x culture, outside of just, you know, the physical, I want to take $100 and make it into 1,000. Great, let's 10x your $100 into $1,000. But when you talk about, you know, you need to 10x your life, you need to 10x your relationships, you know, you need to 10x. That's basically saying that if you feel that you need to 10x your relationships, that you're at a 1 out of 10 where you could be in that space. And that's like, if you're at a 1 in anywhere in your life, you know, you're probably, that's depression. That's full on depression. And depression is real. I won't discount that. But to assume that that's the standard, you know what I'm saying? Like that is who we're talking to. When we're talking to anybody at any given time, telling them to 10x all this stuff. And that's why we're seeing people buying 10x toilet paper, because they don't feel like, you know, there's fear and there's scarcity underneath that, because there's such a big gap between where people feel like I can be okay as I am. Like I can figure out how to make how I am in this moment feel like 10x, but I don't need to buy, you know, I don't need to buy out Costco and fill my garage with toilet paper. That's inherent in that. That's why we're seeing all that. It's all connected.
Yeah, how much do you think is really like predicated on just fear, right? And like the fact that we have a culture of just consumerism versus people that are actually learning how to be sustainable, learning how to become investors in their relationships, in their health, in their, you know, in their mind, body, spirit, you know, as well as obviously we all want to obviously continue to like be able to, I think, grow in all areas of our life. Like we want to achieve wealth, but wealth is beyond just, is beyond just money. And in many ways, I feel like my relationships are more valuable than anything in the world. And a lot of years of my life, I sacrificed my relationships in my life, and I sacrificed my health. Two of the most important things that now at this point in my life at 35 matter the most to me. What do we have without our health? What do we have without like being able to have wealth and share it with others? I know a lot of successful, rich people in the world that have no real friends. Like nobody who genuinely they can say are their real friends. They let go of them. For me, it was nice to be able to know that like during this crisis, I was getting on Zoom calls with some of my day one friends. I'm talking about friends that I've had since kindergarten.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean? Like I got friends that go back to kindergarten. Like some of y'all are just like, you've completely let go of building and nurturing these relationships, and this opportunity right now in this quarantine allows you to again slow down, stop. Like how have you been treating your health? How have you been, treating the relationships you've had in your life? I got a voice note yesterday, Danny, that shocked me to the core, and it was like, damn, like, I'm out here every day for the people. Every day I'm taking time away from my life to spread love, at the end of the day, like hope and possibility for people. And yesterday I got a message from someone that basically was one of the most beautiful messages that I've ever gotten in my life. Like it was a voice note of just pure gratitude and appreciation, and someone that was honoring me, and with no expectation of anything in return. And I was like, man, it hit me to the core of like, this is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And if every single person started doing that right now, if every single person started being more conscious in their relationships and their friendships, sending out appreciation every single day, taking care of their health more, and also being more conscious in the way that they're living, like how they're treating their environment. I didn't realize, this past Saturday, I worked with a coach to understand energy, the elements of the world, right? And the earth elements, right, are these elements depending on what your beliefs are from the Western and Eastern world. But it's basically, wood, fire, metal, water, and what was the other one? And
Stone?
earth.
Stone, earth. Yeah. I said stone, but yeah, earth.
And earth. So like, I started realizing that like all of these energies are things that we can master within ourselves, but also like in our environment, in our space. How can we honor now, when we drink water? How can we honor the food more and say gratitude to the food before we eat? How can we honor and bring in more of those elements into our space? So I just bought an art, because I love art, that represented water. I'm doing an art series every Saturday on live. From the artist that I brought on Saturday, Kaylin, I bought a piece from that represented water to bring it to my space. I just got crystals from Magdalena, who's doing a live stream with me tonight on the new moon. But I'm just, I'm starting to really honor and bring in these elements around me and master them within me. And again, like, I went off a little bit, but just like relationships, man, just the relationship we have with ourselves, the relationship we have with others and our friends, and then the relationship that we have with Earth. I think that's like the core thing that I want to like make a point on. It's like, how can we really start to nurture these relationships that are so freaking meaningful in our life?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that the biggest element of that, how we do it, is always, it goes back to intention, and it's like we so often forget, like, what is my intention with this thing? We like, again, kind of like still talking about what we were just talking about with the feeling like we need so much more. Like you take somebody that I want to make six figures, right? I want to make six figures because when I make six figures, then I will have enough money to be able to travel whenever I want. And travel is my passion. I love to travel. So I'm going to work this job that I hate to make six figures so that I can make enough money to travel. But the reality is, if that's what you really want, is six figures what you need? I mean, there are so many amazing opportunities we see all the time. People travel bloggers, maybe not right now, but what is your intention behind it? What's your intention? Why do you want that? Why do you want six figures? What is it for? And then find out what that's for, and then realize if what you're desire is for to utilize that for, do you actually need that thing? Can you find a way to make travel your career where people pay you and maybe you make, you know, 40K, but all your travel is paid for, right? So it's like understanding, like in relationships, like really getting intentional with like understanding why am I, you know, what do I want out of this relationship? How am I showing up in it? You know, that's a whole other topic, relationships, where, you know, we put so much energy into other people needing to fill certain missing pieces within ourselves. But, you know, it all goes back to like, again, this whole thing, slowing down and like really asking the important questions. You know, why do I feel like it's out of my power to do anything, you know, for the planet? Why do I feel like it's not my responsibility? Like if I had children and I saw, you know, into the future and I saw the planet burning and on fire and my children and all their friends and family suffering, would that change anything? You know, and it's like, again, it's always, to me, it comes back to slowing down, thinking about like, you know, what is the intention behind why I believe whatever this thing is that I'm telling myself either is what I want or is either like, you know, something I'm not willing to do.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. And I love like being intentional, right? All of us need to start truly asking ourselves that question of the why in everything that we do. So I want to talk a little bit about the fact that, Danny, you've been an entrepreneur. I appreciate you've come to my event, the Movement Mastermind event. And, you know, it's one of the things that I love about you, and we relate, is we really do think about that why and think about that question, not just in a daily basis on the food we eat and how we are in our relationships with our friends, with our relationships with our family and business relationships, but also in the way that we do business. So talk to me a little bit about like what is the business that you've been creating, like what inspired you? And, you know, talk to me about like what have been the hardships of understanding this model that like Tom's really helped be the catalyst for, which is kind of like, you know, you buy something
One for one, yeah.
And then you know that like it's actually going towards this cause to make the world a better place. And I think Tom, you know, it's so amazing when we see companies like that. And I think that plays into this concept of conscious capitalism. So what have you learned with that business model? Maybe give us an explanation of that business model. And what have been some of the hardships that you've had to go through in building a business like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is the future. Conscious capitalism. There's a lot of people that are just completely anti-capitalism. And, you know, it's easy to understand when you see, again, the state that we're in, the overconsumption. Yep. You know, a lot of people will say consumption and commerce is not the answer. But to try and tackle human nature in a generation and get human behavior to change in a way that like we no longer feel like we need to consume to a certain degree, we can make little changes in that regard. But the quickest way that we can do good is conscious capitalism and to utilize commerce for good. So to change the model and so to take it where people are still going to be, you know, involved in commerce and purchasing things, but taking the energy from that and channeling it into areas that can impact, you know, the greater good, which is, Tom championed this one-for-one model. It's everywhere now, you know, tons of people utilize this model. It's almost kind of necessary. And the one tricky thing about it is it's so baked into to our society and culture now that a lot of companies are now kind of using it as like greenwashing, which is to say, you know, we're going to say we do this for every product sold, but what are we selling? We're selling garbage. We're just utilizing this, you know, social good so that we can
as a marketing
tool. It's called greenwashing, and it doesn't do anything better for the planet. You know, even if some of that money is going into these social goods, the integrity behind it, the intention behind it is wrong. So anyway, my initiative, 1 Million Acres, you know, I've partnered with some of the indigenous tribe communities in the Ecuadorian Amazon. We've created a bracelet. Every bracelet sold funds the protection of an acre of rainforest and the planting of a tree through these charity partners that I partnered with. But over and beyond that, it's the creating of these new sustainable job opportunities for these indigenous communities who have been marginalized by these big, large extractive companies like, you know, oil and animal agriculture. Animal agriculture is one of the biggest contributing industries to deforestation. But I just learned even recently about this ongoing case from Chevron, where Chevron dumped millions of gallons. If you saw this, you would be so pissed. And I'm going to actually post some stuff within the business about this. We're going to support this emergency campaign as well through the initiative I'm doing. But Chevron spilled billions of gallons of oil in the Amazon with no regard, knowing the impact, just to cut costs. And this was years ago. This was 20 years ago. This has been an ongoing case. And they were found guilty in court and were fined something like $70 million. I forgot, it's a lot. But where it's come is they basically turned it around, and they've now utilized, you know, political will and all of the broken elements of our political system to take, you know, one of the biggest proponents of this case that was against them. And this guy is now confined to house arrest. While the court goes into appeal on this case, and Chevron is using their money to basically say, we're not going to pay for the damages that we did. And it's like, that is the shit that, like, now more than ever, like, I started this 3 years ago. I was just really inspired. I loved, you know, having been able to connect into the rainforest. I saw the impact of deforestation. I wanted to do something that could help. I'm going to start an initiative that every product we sell will save an acre. That there was still really a beautiful intention behind it. But since I've had an opportunity to connect with the indigenous communities and see the effect that these large extractive industries are having down there, it's even more of a like I have so much fire in me to want to, like, bring these stories to the forefront of why we're doing this, because it's bullshit. And it's like, you know, these companies that are getting away with destroying the planet, and we're literally funding it. You know, it's a travesty. So anyway, as far as the model goes, you know, the challenges with this are, you know, again, this model is everywhere. Everybody's doing a social good. A lot of people have social good impact projects tied to what they're doing. So it can't be the only thing. Like, you have to have the story and the why that we talked about. Is like, what is the reason for why this matters? For instance, we support Rainforest Trust and One Tree Planet, two amazing organizations that allow us to sell a bracelet and protect 1 acre of rainforest and plant a tree. But, you know, these organizations are amazing on their own, and I encourage people, go support them directly too, right? So, but why are they going to come in and be a part of this movement, the OMA movement, to have the bracelet? And, you know, again, it's really inspiring people to want to be a part of our global connection to these indigenous communities and be able to tell their story for them and be able to be a part of the fight against these larger extractive companies. And the biggest thing for me is that the creation of these job opportunities for the indigenous communities is actually one of the most effective ways to fight deforestation. And when I learned that, that's when it really kind of changed everything. It's really just a matter of opportunity. You know, you have these indigenous communities living in the rainforest that a lot of times they end up getting into the illegal logging or the illegal gold mining. And it's not that, you know, they don't care about their land. They do, but they have no other opportunities. So when you can bring new opportunities so that they can actually, you know, sustain themselves and support their families in a way that's actually in harmony with nature and supporting conservation, it changes everything. And so that's really what the heart of this project is all about. Yes, we have the impact that we're creating on top of that, which is huge. But it's like this conscious capitalism. It's changing, you know, what commerce can do. If my vision for this, as it grows and expands and scales, is this is creating a whole new space of an economy within an ecosystem that is traditionally being exploited, and these communities are falling into that exploitation. So it's really even so much bigger than just the impact that we're creating.
Yeah. Evan says here, I wish getting the bracelet could be an option though. Sometimes you want to donate without creating more waste in a sense.
Yeah, so I think he probably meant I wish not getting the bracelet could be an option. I'm
Right.
guessing because it's true. You know that somebody at one of our people actually emailed me about this, and
But
this is
can I mention though? I just want to for a second honor you before you answer that is because the fact that you're creating jobs for these people. I actually have Ecuadorian in me. My mom was born in Colombia. My grandparents were in Ecuador. They had farms in Ecuador.
no
So
shit.
like to know that like you're creating jobs for these indigenous people that otherwise, they may not have the ability to be able to have that, right? To like provide for their own families and how that plays a role in this fight. I think for me that's just as important as the actual planting the trees and helping to rebuild the Amazon, right? Like I think that I love these companies that are giving jobs and giving opportunity to a lot of these indigenous people all over the world. I mean, I know companies that are doing it for all these third world countries around the planet, and I think it's important that they have that opportunity. And there's a feeling. I remember seeing a documentary of like, in India, all the poor people that like but they have a job, and the fact that they there's something about you have pride, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is, but there's a sense of pride as a man or a woman that needs to take care of your family, that you have the ability to go and earn, to be able to put food on the table, to take care of your family. So I think the fact that there are these companies that, yes, there's also money being raised for these huge socially conscious, initiatives, that's just as important. Yes, I guess you can say it creates waste in a way, but like the fact that you're creating that opportunity and job for these people is
Yeah,
huge, I feel.
it's
So I want
huge,
to
and
honor
it's
you for that.
thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's something that uh, I would say it was in the beginning I was thinking about, but I'd be lying if I said I don't still think about it, every day, or most days. But I'm also always wondering. It's like, does there need to be a thing? Like, some people do just want to support these initiatives and
Yeah.
support, the protection without buying a thing. So the one thing I'll say first is that this bracelet was intentionally designed to be unique to any other bracelet that's out there right now, in that it's completely biodegradable. So
Right.
there's a company called 4Ocean out there that is one of the companies that inspired a lot of the evolution of OMA, and they do an amazing job they clean ocean trash and they repurpose it into a bracelet. And so your bracelet is purchasing the removal of trash from the ocean, and you get to be a part of this movement. Where I wanted to kind of take on that and expand on that a little more was, at the end of the day, their bracelet is beautiful, but it's made from recycled plastic. So when that bracelet comes to the end of its life cycle, where's it going to go? It's going to go back into the cycle, right? And it's going to end up back in a landfill somewhere, even though it was doing a lot of really good. What we did with this bracelet is we made this bracelet out of two materials that come from the Amazon rainforest that are both organic and they're regenerative. So no trees have to be cut down. They're literally made from chambira palm leaves and tagua, which is a nut. And both of these materials are regenerative. They will continue to regenerate on their own. And when the bracelet is done, it's biodegradable. It's completely earth friendly. The packaging itself, I think it's we have a zero waste packaging, where the packaging is actually you know what? I have the bracelet right here.
Oh,
It's
dope.
This is the bracelet. The bracelet itself is all natural, but this packaging is made from a compostable paper with wildflower seeds embedded in it. So you actually plant the packaging when you're done with it. And that was the biggest thing for me, is the whole concept of waste, overconsumption. It's just more stuff, more trash. Like,
Gosh, I grew up like that, man. Like
yeah,
my family, we bought everything. Like our garage
it's
is packed. It's like,
yeah,
how
man.
many of you have a family like that, or like you feel like you've ever moved? I don't know about you, but like when I move, I have so much shit. It's crazy, bro. Like storage units on storage units of just tons of shit. Like because we grew up always consuming, always wanting more. I mean, the amount of freaking sneakers that I have is like out of control. But like,
Yeah.
we've consumed, and I think once I sold my company and I started downsizing and I started simplifying my life, and I don't know, I think there's such power when you like really simplify and minimalize your life. Of course, I love
Marie Kondo that life.
What'd you say?
You got to Marie Kondo that life. You know Marie Kondo? She does the feng shui.
There you go. Oh, okay, I gotta look her up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just simplify. Like, how can you start to simplify your life?
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, that's such an important question because, so I've taken every step that I feel like I could to minimize that issue with anyone as much as possible. So we are creating new sustainable economies within the indigenous communities of the Amazon. We are funding a massive amount of impact with conservation and reforestation, and we do so through a product that is so minimal on the environment that it actually it'll disappear when you're done with it, right? Even with that being said, there's still a conversation to be had around, but still buying stuff and shipping. There's obviously, a carbon impact on shipping and transportation. So there's always going to be people that no matter how dope or perfect it is, they still don't want to purchase anything. And that's okay. For those people, I always say, contribute directly to these organizations that are going to go and plant the trees. I don't have a way, and I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can incorporate, a model, like a subscription model or something where, $10 a month can go directly towards these indigenous communities. And it's not giving them work, but it's still going towards helping support them. I still prefer at the end of the day to have the impact model include the bracelet because, like you said, there's other things that are tied to having reliable work. There's, the integrity piece. There's the ability to feel like, and this is a native craft for them too. This isn't something like, I'm bringing in our, Western supply chain of like, we need to manufacture these toys. This is what there are, the artisanal crafts is really part of their culture.
Yeah, I love buying the art. I always buy whenever I go to Peru or I go to anywhere of these countries. Like, I love purchasing from them because they're so talented, from that perspective, and the way that the arts of their arts and crafts, it's like, sculptors and all that. So I'm just curious, Danny, what is your prediction on Earth? Like, do you believe that? Do you believe, because United Nations come out, we obviously have a huge issue going on, climate, you're seeing the corona. I'm just curious, do you have a prediction? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that humans are going to be extinct? Do you think that we're going to last another 1,000 years? Do you think we have centuries? Do you think that we're going to see a huge change in everything? Like, in the way that, cars, homes, like, robots,
I don't know, man.
Artificial intelligence. Like, what's your prediction with what Earth is going to be like in the next 10, 20 years?
That's a tough one, man. That's like where you get into the conversation of, what you think versus what you feel, or like intellect versus wisdom, and it's like, based on everything that's going on versus like, what vision am I holding for the future that I truly believe is possible? And, I had an opportunity to do a ceremony in Ecuador. Actually, last time I was there at this retreat center, nice. I was working with San Pedro plant medicine. And I had an opportunity to drop into this conversation with the shaman there. It was very much specifically around this. And what came through for that is she was asking me across this fire. She asked me, I told her why I had a lot of fear and anxiety. It's called eco grief is the term, what we're all experiencing. It's eco grief where we're seeing all of this destruction and we don't feel like maybe there's faith left in humanity. And we're all experiencing this on a collective. And I brought this up and she asked, do you have faith in humanity? And I had to think about it. And I was like, I don't know if I do. And she's like, well, why don't you have faith in humanity? And I was like, well, some of these things that when you see these stories of just the atrocities that are being inflicted upon the earth, upon people, how can somebody be so terrible to another person? How I know
But
that
it's also
love
the animals, the shit that's the
everything.
ocean.
What we're
So much
doing with
destruction.
modern animal agriculture
Do
is,
you follow that account Karmagawa?
oh yeah, I know Karmagawa.
You know, and it's like they post and it's like you see all the ways that, you know, where all these things that are happening around the world. A lot of times we don't recognize it. You know, for being in LA or, you know, here in America, and you know, where you live, you don't, you know, you may not be paying attention to like what's really going on around the world and the destruction.
Yeah, yeah. So, but even without knowing or paying attention to it, we're experiencing it.
Yeah.
You know, we're collectively experiencing this eco grief, whether we know it or not. Because when you're kind of, so you know, everything is energy, and when we're subject to all these things that we may see the video come through on Facebook or something, and like deep down inside, we're getting like we're forming this belief that humanity sucks. Like, what's wrong with people? You know, like, so that this is actually even more. More speaks more to what you're doing and why it's so important, you know, for the people that are out there that really are inspiring and like, you know, reminding people of what's really there, because the shitty stuff is actually a small percent. It's actually not real. You know, what's real is the fact that we're all coming together in understanding this collective evolution and expansion and love and what's really important. But when I was speaking with the shaman and she asked, do you believe in humanity? I said, I don't know that I do, because I see how, you know, and what she said to me changed everything. And she said, well, especially with this project that you're trying to do right now, she's like, if what you're doing is trying to save the planet, but deep down inside, you don't believe that humanity is good, inherently good, and you don't believe that humanity has what it takes to actually step up and save the planet, do you think that you're going to be able to accomplish your goal?
Right.
And I was like, it changed everything. And it made me realize that the vision that we hold for the future is directly related to how we are seeing everything show up in our life right now. So when we have no faith in humanity, when you have a lack of faith and trust that we're going to step up and do the right thing and know what we need to do to save the planet, you don't believe people are inherently good and will do what's right because people are lazy and they're just inherently just going to be selfish and da 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 da. We'll continue to experience this.
Yeah,
So
my sister Monica talked about it because we had this conversation as well one night just hanging out, and Monica was like, she made me believe in humanity, because she was like, it's like a superhero movie, you know what I mean? You kind of like believe that like you could be, you know, and it just depends on mindset. Some people may be pessimist. Some people's good. There's gonna be the people that are like, they're gonna not believe and they're gonna continue on their way, not caring. But you know, when I talked to my sister, she was like, you gotta just have that hope and belief in humanity that we're doing it, and that as much as forget about the statistics, that like we're going to save this planet, and just know that, have that knowing, and do your part.
that's the part. That's
big
the
thing.
main key.
It's like you got to
do your part.
Your part. That's
Yeah.
it. Like, but have that faith in humanity, but like be aware of what's actually happening. Stop neglecting it and do your part. Eat the littlest thing, because what happens is, I don't know, Danny, like sometimes you forget that like that little, how much these small things compound, right? So it's like, but for me, I've just realized now, you know, like if I, like for instance, I went for a hike with my friend not too long ago, and we were walking and we saw trash on the side of the road. That was somebody threw trash on the side of the road. We walked by, and here was a big moment for us. It was like, damn, what the fuck? Like someone's just gonna throw all that shit on the side of the road? We have one of two choices. Just be like, damn, what the fuck, and keep walking, or be the change that we seek in the world and turn around, pick it up, and keep walking. I made the post with my buddy Matt. He was holding Chick-fil-A. I just made this post back a week or two ago. And we picked it up, and it wasn't our fucking trash. And it sucked to pick up someone else's fucking trash. But we put our egos aside, we put our pride aside, and we knew that like that small action, if we start to be more of that person, that's going to be that change. Every single one of us, even the 27 of you that are on here right now, if you just start to be more of that conscious and be that change, that's how we're going to be able to, you know, save that planet and keep the planet healthy. Like I
Yeah.
know that we want to be ancestors one day. This morning in my meditations, I always pray. I pray to God. I pray to Saint Gerard, which is the saint I was named after. I pray to my angels, my guardian angels. I pray. Then I give homage and gratitude to my ancestors, and then I go to Earth and thank the Earth and thank all my loved ones. But for me, man, like we're gonna be ancestors one day. One day you're gonna be you're gonna be a grandmother or a grandfather. One day you're going to be a great grandfather or great grandmother. One day you're going to be the guardian angel looking
Yeah.
after your great grandkids spiritually.
Do you know
And what
the
is the world that you want for them?
Yeah. So have you heard? I don't know. It's not a proverb, but it's a quote that it's like I think it's a Native American one, but it says, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors; we borrow it from our children," which is exactly what you're talking about. We are future ancestors. By the way, future ancestors is a dope term. Must remember
Future
that one.
ancestors. What's up, Lauren? I see you. Yeah,
What?
so I agree. We're these future
We are the
ancestors.
future ancestors, and we are borrowing the planet from our children right now. And that is the thing that, you can look at that quote and you can be like, yeah, I get it. But like, okay, so what does that mean to you? And I just want to say real quick on the point that you made about the trash, something else that I think that for everybody listening that would really be effective. I've had moments like that as well, but I've had moments where I walk by the trash, right?
Right.
I've had moments where I walked by the trash and I was like, kept walking and I'm like making all the reasons. Well, there's no trash can around here, and da da da. And I started to internalize that, right? And I think the biggest thing that we need to remember is like, if that happens, like, yes, do everything you can to be intentional this day moving forward, to do what you can, be the person that's going to pick up the trash. But if that's happened to you in the past, or you found that it happened to you again soon or whatever, the last thing you want to do is be like, I'm not the kind of person that picks up trash. I just walked by that. What the hell's wrong with me? I knew I should have. And this is like a life thing. You beat yourself up around perfectionism, and this is all entrepreneurial stuff, Oh, I should have done it this way. I didn't do it. This is who I am. I'm this kind of person. I'm not the kind of person that can achieve this kind of stuff. There's always an ability to turn around and change and do it better the next time. So,
I just believe that energy comes back to us too, right? So like, the more you start to make these conscious decisions for your relationships, again, the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship you have with the world and other people, your family, your friends, community, strangers, and the relationship that you have with Earth. And if you look at those three relationships and you just start every day making little decisions, like with intention of, I want to grow. I want to be 1% better every day. I want to be healthier every day. I want to have more full relationships, friendships. I want to share more gratitude. Like I talk to you guys about every day, 3 people a day, share appreciation, reach out to them, send them a voice note, send them give them a call, a video, send them whatever you can. Just reach out to people every day. Like if you fill those 3 buckets every day, your relationships, you make yourself healthier, and then you start making conscious decisions to fuel your body with the thing that's going to actually heal you and make you healthier. Like that's how we'll end up healing our planet. That's what matters, man. And Danny, I appreciate you jumping on live. Real quick, tell everybody about where they can support 1 million acres, your conscious business right now. That's so powerful, bro. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so we actually have a crowdfunding campaign running right now. It actually runs through the end of this week. So we're in the final 3 days of the crowdfunding campaign.
Oh, wow.
And one of the amazing things about this is I talked to a rep over at Bank of the West, which is an amazing bank that's doing, a lot of, they're taking money and putting it into social good. This is a whole other conversation, but the but the banking system is fucked. But Bank of the West is actually supporting our project right now. We're doubling the impact of our contributions. So for every bracelet that gets purchased through the crowdfunding campaign, it funds the protection of 2 acres of rainforest, as well as the planting of 2 trees. Where you can find that is if you go to Save Oma, O-M-A, Save Oma, it'll link you directly to the crowdfunding campaign. You can check it out there.
SaveOma.com?
SaveOma.com. Yeah, it just forwards to the crowdfunding campaign. I set it up because it's so much easier than the incredibly long.
If you're still on this live, I appreciate if you go and support, buy a bracelet, It's going to save 2 acres of land. You know, it's really special what Danny is doing. Support his page, support his mission. Let's go to saveoma.com, do our part. And regardless if you decide to buy a bracelet or not, like you said, it's completely by from the packaging. It also saves 2 acres of land. I've seen Danny, his dedication to this mission. He's so all in on this mission, and it's so powerful. But if you don't decide to get the bracelet, and just, I would tell you, start to become conscious in your decisions and the way that you're treating your mind, body, and spirit, and the way that you're treating the relationships, the people that you meet on a daily basis, the people that you love, the people that you've grown up with, the new people that you're going to meet on your journey, and also conscious in the decisions you make every day that play a role on our planet. You know, just the food you eat, you know, do something as simple as like meatless Mondays. You don't have to necessarily go, I'm not going to tell you that you have to go vegan, but you can start with doing something that's like meatless Mondays, right? You can start to consume less plastic. You can actually start to go to that store with that bag that, you know, not using plastic anymore. Just starting to be conscious in
Buy
little
local
decisions. What'd you say?
Buy local is the best thing you can do for within the food system to make change
Buy
literally
local
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, buy local if you can. You know, right now it's tough, but farmers markets, anything that you can do, buy in season. If you can buy food that's in season and really start to be conscious of the food that we're eating and where it's grown, how much energy it's taking to ship it to us. You know, that's the biggest change, I would say. If there's one change, food. Change the way we're our relationship to food and get a better understanding of where it comes from.
Yeah. And one more thing is, like, are we going to say too, Danny, you brought this up. You know, you said the farmers, but there was one more thing too, bro, that that came to me. What was it? Like, that's part of this whole, and the last thing, guys, I would say to you too is, like, you know, I started doing this. I'm going to be honest. I used to not do this. Like, we grown up, and, you know, I don't know how many of you grew up with your parents having you pray at dinner before meals. For me, my family, we're like Gavones. Gavones is like an Italian term meaning, like, we love to eat. We just dive in. And I'm obviously Latino, but I'm also Italian. So a lot of times our family would get to the dinner table and we would just be like, "Thank you, God, for the food. Let's eat." You know, and we just start eating. Because my mom, you know, she'd cook all day. You'd smell it. We'd be hungry. And as I've gotten older, I've started to slow down and just offering more gratitude with the food and the water, and, like, every day when I'm eating a meal. And now when I sit down at a meal, if you ever have lunch with me, breakfast or dinner, you guys will have, you know, I will take my time and I will pray out loud. And usually it's like not short, not 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Like, it's usually a good, I would say, at least 2 to 3 minutes at least of me praying and giving gratitude to the food, gratitude to God that's giving us another day to be grateful for. We're not entitled to shit. You know, we can have a meteor take us out today. We have a meteor, actually some meteors that are coming through LA today, around the world. But, like, we're not entitled to this life. So just as simple as giving more gratitude to God, to food, to source, you know, like, really honoring that and knowing, like, what had to happen for that food to come on your table. And then, guys, just do your part. You know, do your part. You know, so many people out here that need help. The planet, there's a lot of homeless people. So just do your part. You know, be a conscious leader. Danny, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you for taking time to come on today. Guys, go to saveoma.com. Support my man Danny. Support his mission. Save 2 acres and start making those decisions and becoming, you know, healthier in all of the relationships you have in your life. The one with yourself, your friends, your community, and Earth.
I appreciate you, brother. Danny? Yeah, I just wanted to say one last thing is that also, if for whatever reason, if it doesn't align to support the mission by purchasing the bracelet, another really impactful thing people can do is, I just put a video up on my profile today, on both the OMA and my personal profile. It's a beautiful piece of content that we created today specifically for Earth Day. So if somebody just wants to be able to feel into that and share it, that in itself is a beautiful gift enough in itself. And if you can support, obviously, you know, that'll go a long way as well. So,
hell, man, I can't wait to support. Put on the bracelet and go check out this video.
I
Peace
love you,
out,
brother.
Danny. Enjoy the day, man. Happy Earth Day. Peace,
Thank
bro.
you so much. Peace.
So, guys, thank you for coming on. I know it's 11 a.m. midday work day. I have another live tonight going over what we can learn about the new moon tonight with Magdalena. We'll talk about energy. We'll talk about what does the new moon even mean? What does it mean for us? Today's a little bit more of a conscious day, but I appreciate you guys jumping on. I'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. Mark it. It's on my story. I got to go and jump on a coaching call with my mastermind clients. I love you guys. Leaders create leaders. Be the leader. Peace.